2024 is going to be the best year of your career. And I know because this is going to be the year that you will not get distracted by what other people are doing, and you are going to focus on what you can do to achieve the career growth that you want. It's really, really important to define what career success means to you, because for some people, career success could be climbing the career ladder, right? They want to make more money, they want to get a better position, you want to get a promotion, right? You want to get salary increment. But for some other people, it could be, hey, I just want to go home at 5 o'clock and I want to make enough money to still have time with my family, to have a comfortable life for my family. I don't have to make like $200,000-$300,000 a year, but it's something that I feel as long as it's enough and it doesn't sacrifice my personal time, my family, and that's something that makes sense. So whatever that personal goal is, make sure that you know it. So last year I welcomed hundreds of students to my career program. So I do have a career program. It's called the Corporate Survivor. So it's mainly focused on 9 to 5 professionals to help you guys to get clear, get confident, and get visible in the corporate world, while enjoy work-life balance, right? While feeling calm and in control at work. Last year, we welcomed hundreds of students, and just to share a couple of student successes with you, I actually had quite a few of clients who became top performers at their existing job, meaning that they are identified as high performer, they are earmarked for promotion, they got the salary increment, and at the same time, right, within the 12 months itself, they actually got headhunted on LinkedIn as well. So I'll share two client stories with you, and both kind of chose a slightly different path, but they basically got the similar results as going through the program. So for the first client, what happened was, at the beginning of the year, her company was undergoing restructuring. Initially, she came to me during our mentoring sessions and she said, maybe I'm a bit worried because what if after the restructuring process, right? What if I get fired? Then what am I going to do? Even though, right, she had a conversation with her boss and her big boss previously, and they did tell her that, hey, you are actually a very good performer, like you're a good talent, so we do hope to keep you. But she was a bit uncertain, right? Because there is never any like clear direction in a restructuring, particularly if you are like not the people at the top who's managing it. So she was a bit worried. So eventually what happened was, she her boss sat her down and told her that, hey, I'm sure you have heard of this entire restructuring, right, between the Malaysia and Singapore operations, as well as the whole Southeast Asia operations, ABCDE. And the good news is that the company has actually decided to keep her, but not just keep her. They actually, as a result of the restructuring, they offered her a promotion. So basically, from a senior executive, she was offered a position of assistant manager as a result of the restructuring. And with that, they also gave her a salary increment. I think it was about 15%, if I remember correctly. This is kind of like a positive surprise, because I think for a lot of people, we think that, oh, restructuring is always bad news, right? Restructuring means I'm going to get fired. Restructuring means I'm going to get terminated. Now, that is not true. So if you apply the 3-step framework that I teach, which is Maping's Corporate Survivors 3-step framework, right, where we focus on get clear, get confident, get visible, particularly around your professional reputation, actually knowing what you're supposed to be doing and making sure that you get this support and recognition and respect as you go along your career. When this kind of like organizational restructuring situations happen, to be honest, you don't really have to worry so much, because the reality is that you are still like one of the top few people that the company actually wants to keep. That's actually a really, really good position to be in. So that's what my client was in that situation. That was at the beginning of the year. She took the promotion. She still continued to did really well at her job, and she got the salary increment. Now, in the middle of the year, definitely, she was fairly active on LinkedIn as well. So that was, the restructuring happened sometime, it was in January and February, and usually in March every single year, right? In my program's mentoring sessions, we would do a LinkedIn profile branding and LinkedIn profile review workshop. So I also reviewed her LinkedIn profile during that time and gave her some feedback on how she can brand and position her value better. So she took all the feedback, she applied it, and a few months after that, right? So now we are talking about like the middle of the year already. So a few months after that, she was actually headhunted. So she received a message from a HR recruiter from a bigger MNC. This HR recruiter was actually really interested in her profile, not just her overall, FMCG, MNC experiences, but some of the different portfolios that she has managed and the fact that she actually presented herself really well online, all those things. They reached out to her and she went for the interviews. After considering it for a while, she decided to take on the role. And the good news is that it's a bigger assistant manager role plus a 39% salary increment. And the good thing is that she's actually continuing to progress in her career. And I'll say that even the more positive surprise is the fact that she was doing well at her role, and she didn't really have to take the opportunity, but a good opportunity presented itself. So this is what I call like attracting that opportunity, which is really, really important. So eventually the role was very interesting, the company something that she wanted to do, the portfolio actually gave her more exposure, and of course the salary increment was great. It was 39%. So she went for it. This is what I mean by you can get visible both at your job and online to get new opportunities. You can do both. If you have the right strategy, you can do both. So similarly, I had another client as well who was at the managerial level. Similarly, she was doing really well at her job. She was basically doing a senior manager's role at her job, and she's been identified as top performer, and the company is quite keen to promote her, and they're just waiting for like the right position to open up and everything else. She's been quite focused on that. So the only thing that she did on LinkedIn, which is basically the advice that I teach in my programs, is that we just need to make sure that we set up the profile correctly. If you do that, then your value positioning is really clear and people can understand it, and therefore you will get messages from recruiters and HR because you can be found. That's the overall strategy that I teach and the overall approach that I teach as well. This particular client has been actually really, really busy over the past few months towards the end of the year. I'll say that the second half of this, she's actually been really, really busy. And she, after a few weeks, right, she logged into LinkedIn sometime in, I would say, early November. And that has been about 3 to 4 weeks since the last time she logged in. She logged in and she saw 16 messages, so 16 messages from HR and recruiters sharing all these interesting job descriptions, right? Job postings, asking her if she's actually keen to interview. She was really, really surprised. And she even sent me all the screenshots of all the interesting roles. And all the roles are actually six-figure jobs, right? It's, I'll say, fairly highly paid jobs, and these are like for senior manager roles in huge companies as well. So she was sharing with me all these screenshots, and she was saying that, hey, Mei Ping, actually I didn't even apply, and I'm actually really happy to see all these messages, and now I'm actually going to think about whether I want to explore or not. The good thing is that she's attracting the opportunities, and guess what? She's actually doing really well. She got a really good performance rating. Actually, she's gotten really positive feedback from even up to that the leadership level in her role. So that part is doing well, and that's always the foundation, right? And it's even better to have these opportunities basically come, and then you can almost like pick and choose. And this is what this client has done, right? She's picked and chose. She's like, okay, you know what? Maybe I received 16 of these. I'm just going to think through it. Then, when I want to come to a decision on whether I should go interview or not, or take that position or not, then I'm just going to book that call with you. Then we can have a one-on-one conversation. So that's the flow, which actually works really well. So just a wrap up on this particular client, in which she actually decided, she went for a few of those interviews, but she eventually decided to stay with her existing company. And it's just a decision that she has made just a week ago, which is, hey, after looking at the opportunities out there, at least for this round of headhunters reaching out to me, I think the potential of growing with this existing company is even better. So she has decided to stay. So if you look at like both of these client stories, both of them are doing really well at their job, right? They are high performers, they can deliver their work, right? High quality, they are respected. People know that they are really, really good at what they do. But at the same time, by having a really strong LinkedIn strategy, they're actually able to attract opportunities as well. And with the ability to attract, then now you have options, right? You have like all these job postings and job descriptions and all these messages from HR and recruiters for you to think about, hey, is this really something that you want? And this is definitely something that's taught in the program as well. Both of them reached the point of like doing really well at their role and being able to attract these opportunities from recruiters. And the difference in eventually how they approached it, in which the first client actually went with the opportunity, took on the career change plus the salary increment, while the second client didn't go for it but decided to stay and continue to grow with the company, actually comes down to that career decision. Ultimately, you decide. What I am saying is that if you apply the right strategy, your career will be a lot more smooth sailing, and the opportunities will be more smooth sailing to actually reach a point that you can choose, not to get stuck in a point of like, I don't know what to do. There's nothing that's coming. I just have to accept whatever that comes on my plate. It's not that, right? It's about, hey, I'm going to focus on my job because that's the place where I can show the most value, and I'm going to learn how to package, position, and sell my value so I can be discovered on LinkedIn. So that's like the get visible personal branding approach that I teach in my 3-step framework, which is get clear, get confident, get visible. And this part that I'm talking about specifically is the phase 3, which is the get visible part of it. That's how, with the right strategy, and eventually, you can still come to a point in which you make the best decision for yourself. But wouldn't it be nice to attract those opportunities instead of chasing for them. And you can excel in both sides as well. You can excel at your workplace, you can excel with the new opportunities. So need to make sure that you use the right strategy. And I think that's really, really important. I hope that this sharing has given you some insights to consider, has also given you some inspiration on some of the things that you can start focusing on as you kickstart this year, and the empowerment and the belief that it's okay to do something for yourself, and that this year is going to be the best year of your career because you are going to make it the best year of your career, and it's all down to you. This is not going to be the year that you get distracted by what other people are saying and doing. It's not a year that you're going to get distracted by other people's judgment. It's also not going to be the year that you're going to get bogged down by procrastination and perfectionism. And this is also going to be the year you're going to say goodbye to the past version of you and start focusing and moving towards the version of yourself that you feel you're going to be proud of, right? It's the version that you aspire to be. It's the version that you know that you want to become, and it's someone that you can respect. Have that vision in mind, because that's something that can empower you and motivate you from within, right? Having that inner motivation is way more powerful than any other motivation out there. I wish you all the best. And if you found this sharing helpful or interesting, make sure that you drop a comment, or you can drop me a DM, and I'll see you soon.